Hi, my name is Sarah and welcome to my channel. For my first ever video on YouTube, I thought I would talk to you about my physical TBR and my goals for the year because they both go hand in hand. So basically, my goal at the start of the year was to try and read all of the books off of my physical TBR that have been on it since before the start of the year. So I'm not including any books that I buy this year. I don't have to read them this year, although I am trying to read more as I go along. But it's more, my goal is more the fact that I have so many books on my physical TBR that I've had now for like 3-4 years, and I'm just not getting to them. I'm not prioritizing them. I keep buying new books and just leaving the old ones. And I feel like my reading taste has changed a lot. When I first started reading, like seriously, back in sort of 2020, I lived in an area where there were loads of great charity shops. So I would go to the charity shop and buy like just any books that sort of took my fancy or that I'd heard good reviews of. And then a lot of them I didn't like because I didn't know who I was as a reader. And now I'm definitely more picky when I'm choosing books. However, having said that, I went through all of my physical books at the end of last year and I unhauled any of the ones that I just thought, I'm not going to get to these, I'm not interested in these anymore. So all of the books that are left are books that I do want to read, or at least I want to try. I'm okay with DNFing these books if I don't like them. The whole point is just that I want to give them a go, so that hopefully by the end of this year all of the books on my TBR will be books that I bought more recently that I'm more excited about, etc. I moved house like April time last year, and before I moved I cleared out some books. I've cleared out books sporadically throughout the time, but so most of these books have survived multiple clear-outs, which means that I am definitely interested in them. Yes, I just need to make a point of getting to them. So at the start of the year I had 60 unread books on my TBR, and that seemed quite manageable because it's 5 a month, and so far I am on track, which is excellent. However, I read a lot of the shorter books out of these books, and I'm now at the point where I'd say like maybe about half of the books left are over 500 pages, which is not great. And I just don't think that I can read like 500-page books in a month. So I think my plan is it's like the middle of April. No, it's not. It's not. It's like the middle of May. And I've read my 5 books for this month. So I've read 25 out of 60 books. Well, I didn't finish them all, but I've like given them a shot and DNF some of them. So I've read 25 out of 60 books. So if I could get ahead with a few books before the end of the month and really try and get through some of them, so that towards the latter months of the year I won't have 5 to read a month. I can maybe read 3 longer books, and that would be very manageable. So yeah, I thought I'd just talk you through all of the books that I have left. If anyone's read any of them and really liked them, that would be great. Please let me know. I do imagine that I'm going to DNF some of these because I've had some lovely surprises with the books that I've read so far, and I've also had ones that I wasn't sure that I was going to like and didn't like, and I've also had some that I was sure I was going to like and really didn't like. It's gone both ways, but it's been interesting. I will do a video at some point where I talk you through all the books that I've read in DNF from my physical TBR so far this year, but yeah, I just wanted to share with you the ones that I still have left. So I'll just go through them in no particular order and talk about when I got them, why they've sort of made the cut, etc, etc. So the first one is one of the more recent books actually on my TBR, and that's Solenoid by Mircea Catarescu. So this is a Romanian author, and I got this, my boyfriend's mum got me this for my birthday last year. So my birthday's in August, so it's not actually been too long. It's been like 9 months. I have picked this up a couple of times, but you can see this book is 650-ish pages. The font is so tiny. It is so tiny. The chapters, as you can see, there's not even like a page break for the next chapter. I have tried to read this and I got like 25 pages through twice and I gave up, and it wasn't because I wasn't enjoying it. It was just like it was taking me so long to read those 25 pages that I was like, oh no, I'm going to be here forever. But I do want to get to it, and what I tried to do when I tried it before was like, I was like, okay, if I could read, say, 20 pages a day, then I could get it finished in a month. But I don't think that's the best way to do it. I think I need to commit to like reading this and solely this, even if it takes me 2 weeks to get through it, 3 weeks to get through it, because I think I will enjoy it. It's very, so what's it about? It seems to be quite auto-fictional. It says it's based on Catarescu's own experience as a high school teacher, and it's sort of just like his random thoughts and musings. I've heard loads of people say this is like their favourite book of the year from last year or the year before. I just think it's going to be weird. I think it's going to be like lots of his musings all like linked together. I think it could be great. I just need to commit to it. So that's the first one. And then another humongous one is Dr. Zhivago by Boris Pasternak. I bought this in a charity shop, I want to say maybe like 2 years ago, and I really want to get to it. I bought this one specifically because I have the matching ones of War and Peace and Anna Karenina, which I have read. So I wanted them all in the same edition, and this book is, it's actually not as long as it looks. It looks massive, but it's actually only 500 pages, and that's with notes at the end, so it's probably about 480 pages. I've been putting this, I've not even picked this one up once to try and read it, even though I bought it 2 years ago, because I've heard this is sad, and I think it is going to be very sad. I'm just like not emotionally prepared for it. I also, you know, it's set in Russia. I kind of want to wait and read it in a colder month, so that's kind of what's put me off picking it up, although until like the last 3 weeks it has been cold, so there's not really an excuse for that. I will get to this definitely some point this year. I really anticipate liking this one. I don't know whether I'll love it, just because I don't tend to love things that are like tearjerkery. I don't know if this is tearjerkery. I've just heard it's sad. But I feel like this is a book that's like on all of the like best books list. I need to at least give it a go and see if it's for me. So that's the next one. This one is also massive. This is 2666 by Roberto Bolano. This one is huge. It's like 900 pages, and I picked this up, I want to say 2021, 2022. I bought this in a bookshop in Edinburgh. I bought it full price, and I read maybe about 200 pages, and then I just gave up. And I don't know why I gave up, because it's not that I was disliking it. I think I just sort of got into a bit of a reading slump, and I was like, no, I just need to like give up on this. But you know, I've not got rid of it. It's survived quite a few culls, so I'm obviously still interested. And as I say, what I read of it I liked. But the problem is, when you read a book and you read like 200 pages of it and then you stop, I feel like I need to wait a long time before, so that I can't remember what I've read to reread it. Now I think I could reread it and I don't remember much, but like a year ago, if I'd started to reread it, it would have been too long ago that I couldn't pick it up where I left off. But it wouldn't have been long enough ago that like I would still be able to remember stuff. So, and I'd have found it frustrating to have to read 250 pages of stuff that I've already read. This one, what's it about? I don't know, really. It says, revolving around the border town of Santa Teresa, a vortex for lost souls, and the scene of some of the most horrifying crimes of the 20th century fiction, it defines one of Latin America's greatest writers. So it's basically 5 books that have all been put together. The first book was like about some translators from all over the world that were trying to meet up. I think it's gonna, I don't know, this one I'm unsure about whether I'm gonna like, but I think I could definitely give it another good shot. And there are other books that Roberto Bolano's written that are shorter that I would like to get to. I don't have any of them physically, but I feel like I need to read this one first since I have it. So that's that. And then the next one I have is also huge. This is a theme. They're all pretty huge. This one is Moby Dick or the Whale by Herman Melville. Now, this is a book that I would never, ever, ever have bought for myself. My dad bought me it for my birthday one year, and I want to say that was 2021 or 2020. Maybe 2020, a long time ago, and I've not read it because I didn't really have any interest in it. But then when I went to cull it, I thought, it's like a classic, I've not even given it a go. It's one of my dad's favourite books. But then the thing is, I'm not particularly interested in the sea. The sea kind of freaks me out. And when I asked my dad, like, do you like books set at sea, he was like, oh, I love books set at sea. So I was like, if he said like, oh no, I don't really like books set at sea, but this one was amazing, then I'd have been more inclined to pick it up. He says that there are a lot of very in-depth descriptions about fishing equipment, which I'm like, oh. I also don't really love the idea of whaling, so I'm not sure. However, I did borrow an audiobook of this from Libby, and I listened to maybe like 5 minutes of it. This was only a couple of weeks ago, and I really liked the writing style, and I was like, no, I want to read this, but I want to read it physically because I felt like the writing style was quite beautiful to start with, and I feel like with audiobooks I'm better with like non-fiction or sort of memoiry stuff that is less like descriptive writing, because I zone out. I can't deal with it in audio, so I'm going to give this a go. I fully expect this is one that I might DNF, but I would like to get to it. Next I have The Plays of Oscar Wilde by Oscar Wilde. I don't know how many plays are in this collection, but I think quite a lot, and that's kind of what's put me off reading it, just because I don't think I've read a play in like book format since I was at school. So it's just a lot of plays to get through, and I think it'd almost be better reading one and then like having a break and then reading a different book and reading another. I don't really know much about the plays of Oscar Wilde. I don't think I've seen a single play of his. I wanted to read The Importance of Being Earnest, but then when I went to a charity shop, I saw this and it was like a whole compendium, so I thought, why not? This is like 450 pages, but obviously I think plays read faster, right? So I will get to this at some point. It's just I need to think about how I'm going to approach it. So that's that one. Then I have the Levant Trilogy by Olivia Manning. This one is also quite big, which is, so it's actually like 3 books in one, and I wish I just bought these separately, because I would have read this by now if it was the three 200-page books, because that's very manageable. When it's one 600-page book, I just don't get to it because I'm like, oh, it's too long. I could just read one and then come back and read another like later, the same way I was talking about the plays, but I've just not picked it up. I read the Balkan Trilogy by Olivia Manning last year, at the start of last year, and I really loved it. And this is a continuation of the same characters. This is set during World War II. In the Balkan Trilogy, it's an English teacher and his wife, and it's really told from the wife's perspective. And in the Balkan Trilogy, they start in Romania, and then they move to Greece. And this one, I think, is set, bear with me, Egypt, Jerusalem, and Syria. I think this is going to be great because I love the first one. It's the same characters, or at least a lot of the same characters. I just need to pick it up. It's just, I think it could be quite sad again. I just need to be in the right mood for it. But I will definitely get to this one, and I really expect that I will really enjoy it. I don't imagine me DNFing this. So yes, watch this space. And then next I have Sabbath's Theatre by Philip Roth. I was intrigued by Philip Roth, so I picked this book up, I want to say just like last year, maybe the middle of last year, and I read like 30 pages of it. I was just like, oh, I'm not in the mood for this right now. It's also actually longer than it looks. It's like 450 pages. I think this book is going to be very dark. It's sort of about a man, and at the very start he's like cheating on his wife, I think, and then he finds out his lover has cancer and he doesn't really care. That's what I remember from the first 30 pages. I'm not sure if that's right. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this one. It's sort of giving me like sad middle-aged man vibes, like but I want to give it a go because Philip Roth is like a very well-known author, and this is again on like loads of the like best books to read lists, so I do want to give it a go, and I've not had this one on my TBR for that long, so I will get to it. The next one, I think I am going to probably end up DNFing this. I bought Ulysses by James Joyce. This edition is actually like 700 pages, which makes me think that the writer is pretty tiny, because I know that a lot of editions of this book are like 900 plus pages. I did a stupid thing where I already owned, what's the other one called? Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, and I hadn't read it, and I bought this because I saw it in a bookshop and I really like this edition of it. I just think that's really, really cool cover, and I was like, what the hell, I'm going to read the Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man, so I'll get to this next. I then hated that book when I did get to it, which I got to earlier on in the year, but it was only like 200 pages, so I finished it. And it's kind of really made me terrified to read this. I mean, this is one of those books that they're like companion books to explain what it's about, which makes me very stressed. And I think like if I'm going to read this, which I am, or at least I'm going to try, I need to like really get in the right headspace for it. You know, like I need to commit to it and get the companion book so that I can like try to understand what's going on, because the Portrait of an Artist, a Young Man I really like to start with, and then it just like started getting really like into Latin stuff, and I was just like, lots of like questions about God, and I was just not loving it. I was like, this isn't for me. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. It's just when, but I don't really want to leave it to the end of the year, because that also seems like it's just gonna make me really anxious. So I don't know. Next one is Independent People by Halldor Laxness. So this is an Icelandic book, and Halldor Laxness won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1955. I picked this up at a charity shop maybe last year or the year before. I've not had it that long. It's the opposite. It looks massive, but it's only like 550 pages. This is sort of a book about an Icelandic sheep farmer, I think. I could be completely wrong. I'm not sure. I read like 20 pages of this. This is a theme. I read like 20 pages of this, and I didn't really, it's not that I didn't like it, it was just so long and I didn't want to commit to it at that point, so I was like, oh, I'll come back to it, and then I didn't. So this is when I want to give it a good shot. Like I want to sit down and read like at least 100 pages before I make up my mind, because it's not that I disliked anything in particular about it, it just seemed long, and sometimes when a subject matter doesn't appeal to me, like the thought of reading 500 pages about an Icelandic sheep farmer, I'm just like, oh god. However, like sometimes when you get into these sorts of books, they can be like the best books ever, so I just need to commit to it. And then I have The Sleepwalker's Guide to Dancing by Mira Jacob. I picked this up because I'd heard really good reviews of her graphic memoir, I want to say. I can't remember what it's called now. Maybe it wasn't a graphic memoir, but it's definitely a graphic novel. But I don't really read graphic novels, and I saw that she'd written a novel, and it gets quite good reviews, so I thought I'd pick it up. But I didn't realise, so I ordered this off of a secondhand book website. I didn't realise when I ordered it that it's like over 500 pages. So then when it arrived, and I was like, oh wow, that's big. I just never got to it. This one is, I don't even know what this is about. I think it's sort of a family saga set in India. I think this could be great. I'm also a bit worried it's a bit young adulty, because it's just the cover is looking like quite young adulty, and I think it's about children or like teenagers maybe. Nothing against young adult fiction, I just personally I don't read it, so I'm worried that the writing style might not be for me, but I'll definitely give it a go, see how I got on. The next one is actually two books in one. It's another one of these situations where if I'd bought the books individually, I think I'd have read them by now, but because this is like, again, 500 pages, I've never got to it. So this is the Berlin novels by Christopher Isherwood. My dad bought me this last year, so maybe like August, September time. So this actually, again, hasn't been on my TBR for too long. I had reserved Goodbye to Berlin from my local library, but my local library is very slow at getting books to me, so I knew it was going to take me like at least 8 weeks. And then I phoned my dad, and he was talking about having gone to see a play of it or something, I can't remember, when he was in London, and I was like, oh, that's so funny, I've reserved this book from the library. And he was like, oh, you need to read Mr. Norris Changes Train first, which is the first book in this. So the first book is Mr. Norris Changes Train, and then the second book is Goodbye to Berlin. These are like pre-Second World War, Weimar era Berlin novels. I watched the Christopher Isherwood, I can't remember what it was called, but it was on the BBC like 10-15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. It had Matt Smith in it as Christopher Isherwood, and it wasn't an adaptation of any of his novels. It was about his life living in Berlin just before the Second World War, and it made me really interested in him as a person. He was queer, and yeah, I think this is about his experiences in Berlin. So I think this is another one where I need to read Mr. Norris Changes Train and then come back and read Goodbye to Berlin at a later date. It's just when they put them in the one book, I find it really unsatisfying to like read half of a book and then put it back on my unread bookshelf, if you know what I mean. So that's that. Then I have Tar Baby by Toni Morrison. I've read The Blue Sky by Toni Morrison and I liked it. I then liked the sound of this one, but after I bought it, I then have heard that this is not her best work. So that's what's put me off this one. But I do want to get to it. Toni Morrison is one of those authors, like I do think that her work is going to be incredible. I just feel like I've maybe not found the best book by her yet. Like I liked The Blue Sky, but I didn't come away being like, wow, that was incredible, which I know a lot of people do. And I'm just worried if this is not the best book by her, then is that going to leave me with the same impression? Like maybe I should go and read something else and then read this. But now I have this one, and I don't want to get rid of this one because I think I will like it. It's just, yeah, it's a whole thing. So I will get to this at some point. It's not that long. Then I have Solar Bones by Mike McCormack. This is one of these books that's like, I think it's written all in one sentence. He's an Irish author. I've had this on my TBR for so long. Like I think I bought this in 2020 because it's in loads of secondhand bookshops. Like I think it says it was longlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2017. I think it was really popular at the time it came out. It's kind of put me off because I don't really always. Sometimes these sort of one sentence books can be gimmicky. I'm just worried that I don't love it, but it's not that long, and I need to at least give it a go. I then have Buddenbrooks by Thomas Mann. I hate this cover. I bought this in a charity shop and I bought this again like maybe 3 years ago, and this is one of these ones where I bought it and then I sort of heard that maybe that's not the best place to start with Thomas Mann. So then I took The Magic Mountain out of the library and I was enjoying it, but it's so long and I'd read like 200 pages of it, and then someone requested it and I couldn't renew it, so I had to take it back. And I should have at that point just like ordered a copy and finished reading it, but I didn't. And then I didn't want to pick up another one of his books because I'd already started one. Anyway, then last summer I got Death in Venice out of the library, which is only like 70 pages, and I read it and I really liked it. And now I feel like I just need to tackle this one. I kind of want to go back and read The Magic Mountain. I think it might be better than this one, but I have this one. It's been on my TBR for so long, so that's next. That's the next Thomas Mann I need to get to. Then I have The Birthday Party by Laurent Mauvigny. So this was longlisted or shortlisted for the International Booker Prize last year, and I had a voucher that I had to use before I moved house, so I bought this in like April last year. And then I started reading it, but it was getting a bit spooky, and my boyfriend was going away for a work trip and I was going to be alone in the house for a few days, and I was like, no. So I put this down and then I just never picked it back up. It's like a thriller, I think, sort of like a literary thriller. It's set in France. He's a French author. I think it's set sort of in the course of one day, or like it's about a birthday party essentially. I heard really good things about this, but then I've also heard mixed things. I don't really read thrillers, so I'm a little bit concerned that this is just not for me, but I will give it a good go. From the 80 pages I read, it was like nothing special, I didn't think, but we'll see. Then I have Hopscotch by Julio Cortazar. This is a Chilean author, and this book is like, it's kind of cool. Like you can either read it like just from front to back, or you can do like, you know, those like choose your own adventure things, but you can jump from like read it in a different order. That also sounds a bit gimmicky, which I'm so not sure about it. But again, it's longer than I thought it was going to be. I started reading it, I wasn't really understanding much of it. Again, I think this is one that just really is going to require my full attention. This is, again, a theme for a lot of these books. I just like, I need to be in the right frame of mind to make the most out of it. I don't want to like be not in the mood for it and then pick it up because it's just, there's no point. So yeah, I will get to this one. I've heard really good things about Julio Cortazar. I think it's just going to be quite experimental and it's not always my thing, but we will see. Okay, then the next one, I've got The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel. So obviously this is the third in the series, her Thomas Cromwell series. I've read the first two, obviously, and I liked them both. I don't think I loved them as much as some people love them. Like I liked them, and then when this came out, I got it for my birthday in 2021, so 3 years ago, and I just never got to it because it's so long. It's like 900 pages, and then I just heard people say it's like not as good as the first two, and considering I liked but didn't love the first two, I'm a bit concerned. My other concern is that I read Wolf Hall in August 2020. I then read Bring Up the Bodies in December 2020. So it's been like 3.5 years, and in between those two books, I can obviously remember all the characters. So it was like, I don't know, when I picked up the second one, I was like, oh yeah, that's this person. But the way that Hilary Mantel writes is not like, she doesn't spell things out for you. So I'm a bit worried that I'm going to miss some of the nuances of this because it's been so long. So I maybe need to do some sort of like recap of the other two books. But like, I think I will like this. It's just like, when am I going to want to pick up a 900-page book? I don't know. Okay, another 900-page book. This is the Karamazov brothers by Dostoevsky. I bought this, I don't know, like a couple of years ago maybe. I've read Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I read it in 2020 and I liked it. I didn't like love it the way that other people love it. And then I read The Idiot when I was on holiday last year, which is so stupid because I already own this, but I was on holiday and I sort of run out of books to read, and I went on Kindle and it was like 99 pence, so I bought it and read it and I loved it. It was so good. So this is like made me want to pick this one up again. I started this, I read like 90 pages of it and then I put it down because I had literally just finished War and Peace and I thought, I want another big Russian book. I read 90 pages. I was like, no, I don't, I need something different. So that's why I've not got to that one, but I think it will be good. Like, I think it will be good. Then I have another like second book in a series. So this is Eyes Another, which is Sexology 3 to 5 by Jon Fosse. I bought this like 2 years ago, so I obviously read the first one. I think when the part 3 was shortlisted for the International Booker a couple of years ago, and at that point I read the first one and I liked it. I didn't love it. I found it quite claustrophobic. That's obviously the point. And then I liked it enough, obviously, to pick up the second one. But then I think because I was like, oh, this is a lot. It's like, it was very claustrophobic. I've just never picked it up. And again, now like a couple of years have passed, and I can't remember that much of what happened in the first one. It's one of these like he's got like a double, he's got like a doppelganger that you can't work out exactly what's going on, who's remembering what. One of them's a drunk, the other one I think is a painter. It's quite confusing. I want to read it all because I think you need to read it all to maybe get what it's about, but yeah, I don't know. So that's that. Oh, then I have Orhan Pamuk's Istanbul, which is his memoir of Istanbul. I read My Name is Red by this author, which I think is his most famous book, and I really didn't like it. So then I thought, I'll buy this. Now, I'd heard good things about this because it's like a memoir. I tend to like memoirs. I started this like a couple of months ago and I read maybe like 50 pages, and I wonder if this is one of these books that if you've not been to Istanbul, it doesn't mean much to you. I just felt like there was an awful lot of like descriptions of buildings, but not in an interesting way. But I still not, I've like, it's been on my TBR for about 3 years and it still survived. So even when I picked it up and read like 50 pages and put it back down, I was like, no, I do want to read this. So there's something about it I do want to read. I just don't, I'm just not sure. The next one is a book that I picked up in a charity shop last year, maybe like September, October time. So this is fairly recent, and this is Wallace Stegner's Crossing to Safety. I picked this up because, well, it's like a Penguin Modern Classic. So normally when I'm in a charity shop, I look for those books because, like, at least you know that it's a book that's sort of like renowned or whatever. And then I went on to Goodreads, which I quite often do when I'm in a charity shop, and I looked up the reviews, and this was getting like amazing reviews. It was like 4.3 or something, 4.2 overall reviews. So I was like, I'll pick it up. However, since then I'm like not sure if I'm going to love it because it sort of seems to be like two couples that are friends and about their lives in America. I controversial opinion, but I don't really love American like books set in the US very much. I feel like more often than not the books that I read set in the US I don't love, so I'm like not sure about this one, but I've heard really good things, so I will give it a go, and it's not too long. Then I have Mrs. Engels by Gavin McCrea. This book has been on my TBR for so long. I want to say 2020 maybe, and it's not even that long. I picked this up because I'd heard Eric Carroll Anderson say that it was like one of his favourite books, and it was like longlisted for the Booker Prize, or no, it wasn't, longlisted for the Guardian First Book Award. Then when I was like looking on Goodreads the other day, I saw that this is an average rating of like 3.2. I was like, oh no. So I'm gonna give it a go. This is about, well, Mrs. Engels, Frederick Engels' wife. I'm assuming it's sort of just like a historical fiction type thing. I'm gonna give it a go. I have Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. I read North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell and liked it quite a lot. Actually, yeah, I did like it. I then picked this one up, which is like 600 pages, and I took it on holiday with me, and then I was just not in the mood for it, and it kind of put me in a reading slump, so I've not gone back to it. I wanted to read Cranford by this author, but like it seems stupid when I have that one, so I will get to that one at some point. Then I have Kojo Lang's Search Sweet Country. This is set in Ghana, and I got this for my birthday. I like went to Waterstones with my boyfriend, and I picked out some books I wanted for my birthday, I think in 2021, and I've tried it a couple of times. It's a very strange writing style, I'm not gonna lie. It's like sort of stream of consciousness, I'm not even sure. Again, I think this is one I just need to commit to and try and like read 100 pages and then decide, but I've struggled every time I pick this up, so it's really put me off. I'm going to try and fly through these last ones. So I have The House of Alua by Emilia Pardo Bazan. This I picked up last year in a charity shop, so this is a fairly new one. This is a Spanish book that's like, again, it's on all these like best books to read list. It's set in the 19th century. It's meant to be sort of gothic. It's about a priest that goes to stay at some sort of like nobility person's house. This one's quite short, so I will get to it. Like, this is a fairly recent one, so there's no reason why I'm not reading it. I've just not got around to it. Then I have The Bone People by Kerri. I've had this for a long time on my TBR, like I want to say 2 years plus. I picked this up, I think I ordered it on a second-hand website because it won the Booker Prize. I'd heard good things about it. I didn't really realise what it was about though, and then when it arrived, I read the blurb and I saw it's like about a mute 6-year-old who wanders off the beach and disappears, and some sort of like hermity type person. And I was like, huh. Then I also heard that the writing style was like quite confusing to follow, and it's like 600 pages, so I've just not got to it. Then I have The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. I read The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy, and I really liked her writing style. I really liked that book. It was like a really special book. But then this one I've heard less good things about, so I'm a little bit unsure. Like, I think her writing style is still going to be really beautiful. I'm just like a bit worried about the storyline. I find that was like a little bit lacking in The God of Small Things. Like, I thought the writing was amazing, but like it could have been a bit more fleshed out, the story. Then I have The Double by Jose Saramago. I just bought this last year as well. I don't know why I bought this. I think I just kind of like the edition of it, and I wanted to read a Jose Saramago book. I ideally would have rather tried Blindness because I've heard really good things about that. I've not heard anything about this, but it's not too long, but the text is pretty small. Then I have Oscar and Lucinda by Peter Carey. I don't know what possessed me to buy this last year. I saw it in a bookshop, in a charity shop, and I was like humming and hawing about whether to get it. And then I didn't get it, and then I got home and I was like, I'm going to order it second hand. It was only a couple of pounds. It's like over 500 pages. It's a book about gamblers, I want to say. I don't know, I'm just not that interested in reading it. It was just a moment of madness, but I will give it a good go. I also won the Booker Prize, and it was shortlisted apparently for the best of Booker, so we'll see. And then I have Romola by George Eliot. This again is one that I bought, I think, last year. I read that Middlemarch by George Eliot a couple of years ago, maybe 2021, and I really liked it. And then I heard this is like not one of her most popular books, but I just really like the cover, and it's set in like Renaissance Florence. I thought it was like a different change of scene. But then what I didn't realise is that maybe you need to know quite a lot about Renaissance Florence to get anything out of it. So I'm a bit concerned because the writing style in Middlemarch was like quite difficult to follow at certain points. Like, it was still accessible enough, but I'm just worried that if I don't know anything about Renaissance Italy, that I'm like going to be very confused. And again, like, I probably just need to take the time to do some research, but that's just, you know, it's all quite time consuming. So I will get to it. Then I have Revolutionary Road by Richard Yates. This is one of these books that, like, when I bought it, I was like really excited to read it, and then I don't know why I just didn't, and now I'm less excited to read it because again, it's like, I think it's set in the US in the 60s, and I'm just not sure that I love that sort of time period and setting. But I don't really know what it's about. I'll give it a go though. And then I have Mao 2 by Don DeLillo. I bought this last year, so again, not too long ago. I read White Noise, yeah, that's what it's called, White Noise by Don DeLillo in maybe like August time last year, and I really liked it. So then I picked up this one in a charity shop, yeah, in a charity shop just because I saw it. I'm not sure if this is like the best one to go to, and that's kind of what's been putting me off. I think it's about some sort of like assassination or plot, or yeah, I don't know. I'm worried that the White Noise was a bit of a fluke and that maybe Don DeLillo's not the sort of author for me, but I'm going to give it a go. Then we have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This is massive. This is like 1,000 pages. I don't know if I'm going to like this. I read Parnassi and I quite I liked it, but I'm not really a fantasy reader, and I like heard people say that Parnassi was amazing, like so good, and I read it and I was like, it's okay. Like, there were bits of it I really liked. So I'm just a bit concerned that like this is very long. If I didn't like love her other book as much as other people are saying, then maybe I'm not gonna like this. But you know, you don't know until you try. I think I'm down to my last two books. So I have the Book of Mother by Violaine Huysman. This is a French book. It was longlisted for the International Booker, I think maybe just last year, so I guess I bought it at that point because it's hardback. When this made the long list, I like read the blurb and I thought this sounds amazing. I ordered it full price, hardback, and then I heard some people's like reviews coming in saying it wasn't very good and that it didn't make the shortlist. So then I just never got around to it. But like, I need to read it. It's really short and it's a hardback that I bought. I think this is sort of about like a children looking back on their mother's lives when they're older and she's maybe no longer there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I'm going to give it a go. And then lastly, I have the autobiography of Alice B. Toklas by Gertrude Stein. I bought this on holiday last year when I was in Krakow. They had like an English secondhand bookshop, and this book's really amazing. It's got like really cool edition. It's got loads of like paintings and stuff in it. That's basically why I bought it, because it looked really cool. And then I read Ernest Hemingway's, the one that's set in Paris, I can't remember what it's called, and she was a character in it, and obviously take it with a pinch of salt, but she was not very nice, and I've also heard things about her being a bit of a Nazi, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, I'm going to give it a go. So that's all of the books on my physical TBR. This has been a very long video. Yeah, stay tuned if you want to see me read these. I'm thinking of doing a reading vlog where I like use some sort of prompt jar to pick 3 books for me to read, just because I'm really struggling at this point. Like, as you've seen, like I don't have a lot of positive things to say about some of these books, so I'm getting to the point where I'm like not sure what to read, so I feel like I need some sort of momentum to take me through it. But yes, if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe, and yes, I will be back for more soon.